There's that one clue, isn't there? That scrap of proof that tells you this was never just in your head. Maybe a photo, maybe a moment that replays over and over because it felt so alive. You know it was real because no one imagines a spark that undeniable. And yet, it's like there's been a gate in the way, guarded, blocked, as if someone or something tried to keep this connection from ever opening fully. But here's the thing, truth can't stay buried. Divine Feminine, you lit something up inside this person, and that truth keeps growing stronger every single day, even in the silence. Eventually, it's going to dissolve whatever false tie held them back. And when that door finally swings open, it won't be hesitant or small. It will be fast, clear, and undeniable, because their soul already knows what you've both been circling all along. Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, I'm glad to have you home. I just want to take a moment to say how grateful I am that you're here, because the energy that's already coming through feels powerful, and I can tell this message is meant for someone who truly needs it today. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you feel called to go deeper, the extended readings and extra guidance are always available on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we get into the longer, more personal layers of these messages, and it's a beautiful space to connect on a deeper level. And while you're here, don't forget to support the channel by liking this video, leaving a comment below, and sharing this reading with someone who may need to hear it. Your energy in this community makes such a difference, and I love reading your thoughts and reflections. Now let's go ahead and shuffle the deck together. Spirit, we ask you to guide us in this moment, to bring through the clearest and most aligned messages for those listening. As I set the energy for this reading, I can already feel the cards beginning to stir, and I know something important is ready to come through. The first card I pulled for us today is Strength, and I don't think Spirit could have chosen a better way to open this reading. Strength isn't just about power in the physical sense. It's about that quiet, steady courage you've shown over and over, even when life met you with pain, shadow, or moments where it would have been easier to close off. Divine Feminine, you've been through seasons where you could have answered darkness with darkness, but instead you chose to meet it with light. You've extended grace, the kind that most people wouldn't even think possible. Moments of kindness, compassion, and softness, even when it wasn't deserved. That is real strength. That's what makes your energy so rare and magnetic. And here's the thing, you might not always realize how much that matters. Every smile you've offered, every creative spark you've released into the world, even every tear you've allowed yourself to cry when you were alone, those ripples go out into the collective. They stabilize the earth grid. They heal the atmosphere of humanity. They anchor us all into something higher. You may think you're just doing your part, but Spirit says it's bigger than that. You're shaping timelines simply by being who you are. I feel like Spirit is saying you are entering a season where all of that unseen work is about to be recognized in the physical. You've been working in the invisible for so long, but the Strength card comes here as confirmation. Your grace has not gone unnoticed. You're about to step into an era where your light, your heart, your resilience, it's going to be seen in more visible ways. And the beauty of it is, you didn't force this. You've simply stayed true to who you are, and that alone has been rewriting the story. And Spirit keeps showing me that your path hasn't been simple. It's been full of moments where you questioned if your softness made you weak, if your heart made you too vulnerable. But the truth is, every single one of those moments was actually training your soul to hold compassion in places where bitterness would have been easier, training you to carry grace into rooms that needed it most. That's not weakness. It's divine power moving through you. I also feel for some of you, there's this sense that people around you didn't always see or appreciate the weight of what you carried. They may not have noticed how much strength it took to smile, to keep going, to extend kindness when your own heart was heavy. But Spirit saw it. The universe recorded every choice you made from love instead of fear. And now, those unseen seeds are about to bloom into something you can see with your eyes. Strength is also about taming the inner storm. Divine Feminine, you've had to face the parts of yourself that wanted to lash out, to give up, or to close the door entirely. And yet, you kept leaning into love. You kept trusting your intuition even when logic screamed at you to walk away from your own heart. That's why this card shows up now. It's Spirit saying, I saw the battles no one else saw. I saw you hold yourself together when no one clapped for you. And that victory counts in heaven. So take this as your reminder, Divine Feminine. Your strength isn't just endurance. It's the way you've chosen to love when you could have shut down. It's the way you've chosen to create when you could have stayed silent. That's your mark. That's what Spirit is honoring in you today. The next card I just pulled is the High Priestess. Let's sit with that quiet inner knowing for a moment. Divine Feminine. You've been living by a rule that not many people really hold. You don't meet darkness with darkness. You understand that only love can truly heal hate, and you've lived that truth even when life gave you reasons to harden. Maybe you were shown harsh things when you were young, or maybe you faced more shadow than your heart ever wanted to hold. And still, you kept choosing love. That choice didn't make you soft the way others might say. It made you stronger in a way that the world doesn't always notice. Spirit is saying the hurt you were shown taught you how to love wider, and what was meant to defeat you only made your heart bigger. As I shuffled with you in mind, an image came through. A sense of weight in the shoulders, like you carry more than your body shows. If that's you, know this. The High Priestess sits in your heart space right now. When your heart opens, your seeing gets clearer than logic ever allowed. Your gut, your quiet inner voice, your soft knowing, it's all connected to that heart space. And when you let it lead, you see people and situations as they truly are. I'm getting a lot of water energy here, or you may just feel things very deeply like the ocean. There's also something active behind the scenes, like a soul thread you didn't know was still tied. You were turned on by this person in a deep way. They touched a part of you that fell asleep. For many of you, one look, one tiny moment, shifted everything inside. It was quick and simple, but the inner map of your life changed after that single glance. Right now, I have chills thinking about it, because this is not casual energy. It's a romantic kind of pull that wakes the whole system up. You've been carrying a lot quietly, and part of that is because you notice things before others do. You feel the small shifts, the way someone's tone changes, the pause before a truth is said, the way a room cools or warms when a person walks in. Those tiny details are your compass. They point you toward what is real and what is a mask. So when your body tightens or your shoulders tense, don't rush to fix it or explain it away. That bodily signal is telling you something important. Give yourself the space to listen to those signals and to breathe into them, because your body remembers what words sometimes forget. And lastly, remember you are not alone in this inner work, even when it feels very private. The quiet knowing you carry is part of a larger field of people who are waking up in the same way, sensing more, feeling deeper, choosing love even when it would be easier to shut down. Lean into that sense of shared presence. Write down what you feel. Share a small truth with someone you trust. Or simply sit with your breath and say, I see you, to the part of yourself that is aching. Those small acts collect into big changes. Trust that your inner light is tuning you toward what is true, and that every small step you take in listening will lead you closer to the clarity your heart already holds. So lean into your quiet knowing, even if your mind tries to make sense of it. The High Priestess asks you to trust your heart over the noise, to notice the small signs, the tightness in your shoulders, the replaying scenes in your head. This is a time of deep feeling, and your inner voice will guide you through what looks like confusion. Hold space for the mystery, divine feminine. The truth you carry in your heart is the clearest light you have right now. I just pulled the magician. Let's sit with that spark of raw creative power for a minute. Divine feminine, this was not a small meeting. It hit like a burst of light you didn't expect. So strong it almost knocked the air out of you. Being with this person felt electric, like your whole system got zapped awake, and you might have literally had to sit down because it was that much. Maybe you tried to step around it, tried to keep your distance so you wouldn't get swept up. But the truth is, the impact was unavoidable. You didn't ask for a quiet little shift. You got a full-on activation that moved something inside you that had been sleeping. And right now, Spirit is saying that this activation was creative and deep. It rewired more than feelings. It changed a part of your life's direction. I'm feeling that you both came out of that moment stunned, each of you thinking, wait, what just happened? It wasn't just you. They felt it too. It had a kind of mystical, out-of-body quality, like you met somewhere that didn't feel like normal life. It was real, yes, but it touched a part of you that lives beyond everyday logic. Because it was so spiritual and strange, a lot of the experience never got fully processed in the moment. So you both left that shared space, carrying the echo of it, and now you're each working through those echoes on your own, in your own way. That's why there might be long stretches of silence between you while both of you quietly digest what shook you. This kind of meeting often turns on a creative switch. The magician shows me that something in you got unlocked, a way of making, dreaming, or expressing that had been lying quiet. For some of you, that might mean a rush of new ideas, new art, new projects, or a sudden boldness to try things you'd only thought about in the dark before. For others, it might be a return to a voice you'd lost, a way of speaking your truth that feels brand new. And yes, the memory of it might come back in songs or small signs. Even a line of music or a lyric can feel like a message from that moment. If you're an artist, a creator, or someone who lives in feeling, expect that this activation is going to show up again in the work, in the music, and in little nudges that guide you forward. And one more thing, treat those sparks like little seeds. When a tune, an image, or a sentence lands in you, write it down right away, even if it feels tiny or silly. Make a small ritual, a page in your journal, a voice note on your phone, a 5-minute sketch, something that says, I saw you and I'll keep you safe. Protect the time you need to play with the idea without pressure. Invite a friend to witness one small experiment or set a tiny deadline for a draft, and let the joy of creating be the only rule for a moment. These quiet practices give the magician's spark somewhere to grow into real things. You don't have to understand everything right now. It's okay that much of this feels mysterious or half-digested. Give yourself room to be surprised by what comes up next. A thought, a tune, a strong pull toward something new, and treat those sparks like gifts, not problems. If you make things, try following one small idea all the way through and see where it leads. The magician loves experiments that turn into real-world change. And if you feel called to follow those channeled hits, know this: you aren't being tested. You're being invited to use the power that was switched on inside you. Keep a gentle hand on your heart while you move, and trust that what this person activated in you is a tool for creating a fuller, truer life. Before we pull the next card, I just want to pause for a moment and check in with you. How has this been resonating with you so far? If something in these first 3 cards has already spoken to your heart, let me know in the comments. I love reading how these messages meet you right where you are. All right, let's go ahead and see what Spirit has for us as we pull the next card. I just pulled the 5 of Pentacles. Let's sit with that honest, raw feeling of lack for a moment. Divine Feminine, this card is showing me the part that's been easy to name but hard to face. Worry about money, value, and what's real. You and this person both felt something creative and tender between you, but much of it lives in memory, not in proof. Spirit is showing me a tiny scrap, one quiet clue, like a single photo, a note, or a small recording that proves you were there together. For many of you, that's literally all that remains. One little thing you keep tucked away because it matters more than people think. There might be no long gallery of pictures, no big evidence, just a single holy scrap that says, "We existed." Hold that scrap close if it helps you remember. It's a real trace of what sparked between you. At the same time, the 5 of Pentacles points to a constant undercurrent that never quite goes away. You described it like a heartbeat beneath the surface, and that is exactly it. Even when life looks normal, the energy is present, steady and heavy, as if both of you learned to walk around it like an old, familiar storm. Sometimes you feel it stronger, sometimes quieter, but mostly it simply is. A stable, alive frequency that neither of you could fully ignore. That steady presence can make you wait for the energy to pass, for the person to change, for the scene to clear. But Spirit wants you to know this is not just a passing weather pattern. It's a condition of the heart that needs tending, not waiting. There's also a money story here. I keep seeing a wallet and the image of it being empty, symbolic, not always literal. For this person, keeping an image of you in their wallet is their way of saying you have worth in their private world, while their outward life still looks like scarcity or fear. Maybe they think value equals safety, and safety lives in the old, known pattern they can't yet leave. That mismatch, holding you in a hidden place while choosing the safe, gray route, creates a tug between longing and logic. If you felt confused by mixed signals, this is part of why. The wallet holds a quiet yes, while the life around it still says no. And here's the deeper truth, divine feminine. What looks like scarcity on their end is actually showing you where they've limited themselves. That empty wallet, that choice of the safe life, is less about you and more about the fears they haven't yet faced. You weren't meant to be hidden or held in secret. You are not something someone tucks away like a private picture. Spirit is asking you to see the contrast clearly. While they may still wrestle between longing and logic, you are being called to claim your own worth out loud, in public, in the way you live every day. This isn't about waiting for them to fill the wallet. It's about realizing your value was never meant to be counted in their currency. So, what do you do with a situation like this? First, do not erase your own evidence. Keep your scrap, your memory, your song, your photo, whatever small proof you have that this meeting mattered. It will help you trust your inner knowing when everyone else shrugs. Second, tend your feelings about value. Practice small money care. Say out loud what you need and refuse to trade your worth for someone else's comfort. Third, don't get trapped waiting for a storm to leave. Learn to live well even while the weather moves. Build small routines that feed you. Create a safe pocket in your day for your art or your quiet, and let that steady work be your proof that you are moving forward. The Five of Pentacles doesn't lie. There's been loss and lack. But it also points to what wants to heal: your sense of value, your small sacred proofs, and the steady work that brings you back to wholeness. The next card I just pulled is the Four of Pentacles. Let's lean into that honest money and value story for a minute. This card is so clear about what you described. They keep a tiny picture of you tucked away, but when they open the wallet, they also see the gaps. For them, looking at you brings equal parts longing and proof of lack. Like your image says, you matter, while the empty space says, you don't fit into the life I think I must keep. That clash feels heavy to them. It makes them fold inward, hold on tighter to what feels safe, and tell themselves stories about why they can't choose the thing that lights them up. Because of that split, you've been left wondering if your own knowing failed you. You saw the spark in their eyes, you felt the pull, you trusted your gut, and then their choices made no sense. That mismatch rattled you. It forced you to ask hard questions. Was I reading it wrong? Was I dreaming? The truth is, your intuition was on point. The issue wasn't your reading of the energy. It was the other person's inner map, the fears and limits they're holding around money, safety, and identity. This kind of silence or pulling back can feel like rejection, but Spirit is showing me it's not rejection of you. It's rejection of themselves. When someone looks at you and sees both their deepest longing and their deepest fear, they don't know how to stand in that space without breaking open. That's why they retreat. It's not because your energy was wrong or your love wasn't enough. It's because standing near you forces them to see every crack in the life they've built, and they don't yet feel strong enough to face it. And here's the beautiful part: your heart knew the truth all along. Even when logic tried to argue, even when silence made you doubt, your intuition kept whispering, this was real. The spark you saw, the connection you felt, the way the energy lit up between you. That wasn't a fantasy. It was spirit giving you a glimpse of what your soul already knows is possible. Don't let their fear make you question your gift, your sensitivity, your clarity, your ability to feel beyond words. That's not a weakness, it's your compass. Spirit is saying this moment was meant to strengthen your trust in yourself. You're not here to chase scraps of love or wait for someone to catch up. You're here to honor the depth of what you feel, to let it guide your path, and to refuse to shrink just because someone else hasn't healed their story of lack. What you tapped into with this person is proof of your power, not proof of your mistake. The confusion was part of the lesson, but the clarity is yours to keep. So what do you do with that? First, be gentle with yourself for the confusion. Your heart picked up something real. Second, notice the lesson here. You are not the one who needs fixing. Their empty wallet is a map of what they haven't healed, not a measure of your worth. Keep your scrap, your song, your photo, and tend the small proofs that anchor you. And finally, move from this place of knowing. Say what you need. Keep building your life and your art, and let your value be visible in how you live, not tucked away in someone else's fear. The final card I pulled for us today is the Lovers. And I feel Spirit couldn't have closed this reading in a more fitting way. Divine Feminine, what you shared with this person may not have looked practical or grounded in the real world, but it was real in a way that went beyond appearances. There's that scrap of proof, maybe a photo, a small memory, one undeniable moment that keeps replaying, that tells you this wasn't imagined. It was alive, electric, undeniable. Even if others don't see it, your soul does, and so does theirs. But here's the thing. This connection didn't come without resistance. I'm shown a gate, guarded tightly, whether by fear, by another person, or by circumstances that seem to block the two of you from stepping closer. Someone didn't want this to happen, whether in the physical or in their own mind. And yet, the truth you sparked within them is stronger than the gate. You lit something up that can't be unlit, and Spirit is saying that truth will eventually dissolve what was never built on a solid foundation. The Lovers is also about reflection. They are not just a mirror of desire, but a mirror of truth. And the truth is, Divine Feminine, this person saw in you what they were afraid to admit in themselves, that they could live, feel, and love more deeply than the version of life they've been settling for. That realization scared them because it meant change, it meant risk, and it meant stepping into a new chapter that wasn't neatly planned. But even if they resist, the mirror never goes away. Once the soul sees itself clearly, it can't pretend it never caught that glimpse. And that's the tension they've been living with. Every time they think of you, whether through a memory, a dream, or even something small like a song on the radio, the reflection comes back. You are tied to the part of them that knows they are meant for more. And while they may try to run, Spirit says it's like trying to outrun your own shadow. The truth you awoke will always walk with them, because it lives inside now. At the same time, this card is asking you to turn that mirror toward yourself. What did this connection awaken in you? What vision of your own life feels impossible to go back from? The Lovers here is not just about the other person showing up. It's about you realizing that you are allowed to embody the love, the truth, the aliveness you felt with them, even if they're not physically beside you yet. You are the keeper of that spark, and you get to decide how it shapes your future. Spirit is also showing me that truth dissolves illusions in stages. For this person, that may mean watching parts of their life slowly lose color, things that once felt safe now feeling empty. For you, it may mean watching parts of your old identity fade away because you can no longer fit into the smaller version of yourself. This unraveling can look like loss, but really it's preparation, clearing space for something more aligned to be built. And here's where it gets beautiful. Spirit says love that's rooted in truth can't be stopped. Illusions can delay it, fear can avoid it, but truth is patient and steady. The spark between you was planted in divine timing, and no gate, no circumstance, no denial can erase it. It may not unfold in the way your mind imagined, but it will unfold in the way your soul needs. So, Divine Feminine, let this card be a reminder. You don't have to chase, and you don't have to prove. The love you sparked is already alive. Your role is to keep choosing yourself, to walk in the clarity of your heart, and to trust that Spirit is dissolving what's false on both sides. When the time comes, the choice won't just be theirs, it will be yours too. And by then, you'll know exactly what your soul wants to say yes to. Even in the silence, that truth is growing inside them. Every day they spend trying to return to normal only shows them how different they feel now. And when the old tie or old situation unravels, which Spirit says it will, because truth always wins out over illusion, a door they once barricaded will begin to open. That's when they'll face the choice: step fully into this love or stay behind the gate. And that's where your power comes in, Divine Feminine. The Lovers isn't just about them choosing you. It's about you choosing yourself, your path, and your joy. When that moment comes, the decision is yours to make. You're not waiting powerlessly at the gate. You are the conscious creator of your story, and Spirit wants you to remember that. Okay, this feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. What we've seen here is a reminder that your energy is powerful, your journey is guided, and Spirit is always working in ways you may not fully see yet. Trust that what is meant for you will always find its way, and you don't need to chase. Just allow yourself to stay aligned and open. If you feel called to dive deeper, the exclusive and extended version of our readings are available right now on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we really expand on these messages and explore the layers that Spirit couldn't fit into this space. Also, don't forget to check out the community posts and today's energy reading updates. I love connecting with you there and hearing how these messages meet you in your own journey. Drop your comments below, share your personal requests, and let me know how this reading spoke to you. And if you'd like to keep the energy flowing, I've linked some other videos here that I know will guide and encourage you. I'll see you in the next reading. Bye for now.